Welcome to another video here at Digital Roofing Innovations. Today we are going to be reviewing IKO's Cambridge Shingle. Let's get started. Okay, so if you don't know who I am yet, my name is Blenkinsopp. I'm the owner of a company called Digital Roofing Innovations. I'm a licensed general contractor and roofing contractor in over 9 states. I'm also a U.S. military veteran. Now, we have been in a ton of different shingle programs, from IKO to GAF to Owens Corning, you name it. We've been just about every single shingle program. And the big thing is because we wanted to know what the best shingles out there was, and then what's the most cost effective for our customers, because that's always the most important thing. So today we're going to talk all about IKO's Cambridge Shingles, and we're basically going to be doing a pros and cons list. I'm going to give you a little detail about every one of the shingles. Now this is going to apply to both contractors out there and homeowners. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to be doing this review of this Cambridge Shingle, actually with their color Riviera Red. We actually installed this on a project a couple years ago, and I'm going to talk about the size of these shingles. We actually ordered a couple squares too much, which normally we're pretty good with our material ordering, but due to the size of these things, we had too many. So this is the bundle I pulled this out of. And as you can see, there's something here called a true square, and we'll talk about this here in a minute if you guys have not ever installed IKO before and their Cambridge shingles. So let's go ahead and talk about the probably if you Google IKO Cambridge shingle, you're going to see a lot of things about class action lawsuits, both in the United States and in Canada. Now, this video is an unbiased video. I have been in tons of different shingle programs, like I've said. So this is not a video of promoting these in any way. This is not a paid promotion. It's just an honest review. But I do want to talk about a little bit with that class action lawsuit. So most of those class action lawsuits, both in the United States and Canada, were for a different type of shingle that it came out. And I'm not going to get into the specifics with the lawyers involved and stuff like that, but I will say that that shingle that was installed is no longer being produced. And if you see the results for and the reviews for IKO shingles, it's been getting better and better over the years. So I just wanted to bring that up because I do think it's important to talk about that shingle is not actually produced anymore. So IKO has kind of overcame that. And from everything I've seen and all the other roofers I've talked to, some people don't like IKO, some people really do. But the point is that the shingle that caused all the trouble is gone. So that's one great thing that IKO has done. Now, one of the really cool things about IKO that I really appreciated, the whole reason we actually gave IKO a chance in the first place was we had a really great rep that was in our market, and he came out, and, the brochures were very professional. I was just really impressed with a lot of the material that IKO had ordered to help sell, and they came out with their Pro 4 program, and that's their complete roofing program. I believe it's called the actual program that a roofer installs is the Shield Pro Plus. And so with the Pro 4, it's very similar to a lot of the other shingle manufacturers. It's nothing that is just unheard of. It's pretty standard with a lot of your GAFs, your OC, your Malarkey, any whatever other shingle manufacturer you want to talk about. But their Pro 4 requires you to obviously use a Cambridge shingle. Now you're going to install an ice and water shield. We always installed Storm Shield, which was their ice and water shield, and then of course their underlayment, or synthetic underlayment specifically, which was their Storm Tight. Of course you have to use their leading edge starter, and I think you have to have 3, but out of the 4th one, you have to make sure you use Hip and Ridge. So if you use a different type of ice and water shield, if you use a different type of underlayment, you always have to make sure you use their Hip and Ridge, whether it's just their regular Hip and Ridge or their high profile Hip and Ridge. So, okay, so you talk about the IKO Shield Pro Plus program. So believe it or not, here we go. Here is our certification. So we actually got this from IKO. I think they finally sent this. It says 5/16 of 2018. So just about 2.5 years ago that we were installed in their Shield Pro Plus program. And so there's Shield Pro Plus for the homeowners out there. This makes sure that your roofing contractor has at least 3 years of experience and at least 5 years of no judgments or legal lawsuits against that company. So they want to make sure that you're a clean contractor and you're not dealing with a bunch of lawsuits and stuff like that from either homeowners or business owners, and they want to make sure you have at least 3 years of experience. Now that is the roofing contractor. It doesn't mean the crew has that experience. So you want to make sure that if you do hire a contractor, even though he's in this program, you want to make sure that he's out there while the crew's installing your system, because just because the contractors has that certification doesn't mean the crews are going to be following everything. So, all right, so let's move on. So wind rating, that's a big important thing for a lot of people around the coast, and then of course any places where you have a bunch of high winds or tornadoes. So with the Cambridge shingle, one thing I do like about the Cambridge shingles, they have this line that a lot of the manufacturers are starting to put on their shingles, and this is where your nail line is supposed to be. So with a 4-nail pattern, these are good for 110 miles per hour, and a 6-nail pattern, they're good for 130. But when it's summertime and it's hot outside and you're up on these roofs, I'll tell you what, having this nail pattern is really, really cool, and having that nail line, so the guys have that to aim for, because I'm telling you, it's the hotter it gets, the tougher it gets to put these on. So that's one thing I do like about these. In terms of the hail rating, again, this is just going to be standard what you're going to get with any first level architectural shingle. Most of the time, anything that's larger than a golf ball is definitely going to leave some type of damage. The older that these get, the more susceptible they are to get damaged by quarter size hail and stuff like that. But they're for the most part, they're pretty standard what you're going to see with most other shingle manufacturers come to the hail rating. Now Cambridge does come in an IR class, impact resistant class 4 shingle, but that's not what this is. It's a whole separate other shingle. Now we have installed that before, and I'll tell you, they are a beefy, heavy shingle. So the next thing about IKO Cambridge shingles are these are algae resistant. So we went back and looked at some of our old roofs that we've installed IKO on. That's one of the things we've definitely liked, especially here in Alabama, where we do have a little bit of algae and moss that grows on these. For the most part, they've looked pretty great after we've installed them. We haven't noticed any algae on there, and I believe the warranty is good for 10 years on the algae resistance, so that's pretty great. Now with most shingles, especially architectural shingles, these have granules on both the bottom and the top. And of course, they have the colored granules on the very exterior part. But they're pretty beefy, heavy shingles. And I'll go into that, how that's kind of a con for some people as well. But for the pro, I think it's pretty good. I typically think that a heavier shingle typically is a little bit better. That's just my thought on it. One of the things that I think is really, really, really cool about these shingles, and it talks about again the size and the weight of these. And this is again one thing that I like. Of course, I'm not the one toting up the ladder all the time. We'll talk about that a little bit in the cons section. But if you see this little thing like I was talking about, it says True Square down here. So what does True Square mean? Well, each one of these bundles contains 20 shingles. And so to do a full True Square, it only takes 60 bundles to do a whole True Square. Now these shingles are big. Now they're 40 7/8 inches by 13 3/4. So they're a big shingle versus your typical is going to be 36 inches by 12 inches. So these are massive shingles in terms of how big they are. Now, when you install these, you're actually getting a full True Square out of 60 bundles. The first time that we did a project with IKO, and part of the reason we have extra this Riviera Red is we weren't used to how big these shingles were, so we actually you end up ordering a little bit extra sometimes. So you have to be really careful that you get your material order right. You might be stuck with some extra shingles. What kind of sucked about these was they were red, so the Riviera Red was a special order, so we couldn't return these. So I've got a couple squares worth here in my garage, which is exactly why we're using them for this review here. But that's just something to keep in mind. Again, I think that's a good thing. It's less bundles you have to buy, so that saves you money as the contractor, and then also you could save the homeowner a little bit of money too, also because your material bill will be a little bit less, so you can obviously transfer those savings to your homeowner. Now, of course, that's really not going to apply if the roof's only 20-25 squares, but if you start doing larger roofing projects where you talk about 40, 50, 60 squares, then you're talking about a little bit of significant savings there. One of the things I did not know about Cambridge until I got ready to do this video was these are actually a Class A fire rating. So you obviously got to make sure you use Class A fire rated underlayment to make the systems complete. But these are a Class A fire rated shingle, which again, I did not know. Now, I think probably one of the best things about IKO, and you guys that's been doing roofing for a long time, you know that the warranties are sometimes hard to enforce. So I do want to be careful when I do say this, that in roofing it is very difficult for, not saying they won't do it, but in terms of the manufacturing warranties, it's one of the hardest ones to get to stick in terms of warranty for different products that you buy. But IKO does offer a 15-year ironclad warranty. So that is non-prorated for 15 years on their Cambridge shingles. I thought that was pretty cool. And of course, you get a little bit of extra protection if you're a homeowner and you hire a contractor that's in this Shield Pro Plus program. I think there's a few extra things that you can get with that warranty. But again, it's one of the better warranties that's out there. Again, how many times they pay out on it and stuff like that, I don't have the statistics for that. But in terms of what they're offering for this, it's pretty great. And one of the biggest reasons that we went with IKO is they're fairly low cost when it comes to some of the other entry-level shingles that's out there, particularly on the architectural side. They're very available in a ton of different colors. I was just super impressed with how many different color options they had. They had a blue shingle too that I really wish I had because it looked really great. We actually installed it on a, I believe it was a white house, and had the blue architectural shingles. And I try to go a little bit more traditional when it comes to what I recommend for homeowners and business owners on a shingle roof. But the guy was dead set that he wanted blue shingles. It actually looked pretty good whenever that we got finished up. They had black gutters installed on the white, and it was like an antique white house, but it ended up looking actually pretty cool. We'll have to say that. Would I install it on my house? I don't know, but but for if you want to have someone that's a little eccentric out there, that might be a good shingle color for them. And actually, probably the biggest reason that we gave IKO a shot was the rebates as a contractor are just phenomenal. So if you haven't checked out IKO, I definitely would check out their rebate program. They pay out pretty good on their rebates, and it's something that as a contractor and you're doing a lot of volume, it's a lot of money you can stick back in your pocket at the end of the year. So I would definitely check out their rebate program. Okay, we can't do a review on a shingle and just do all pros. We got to talk about little cons that come with this shingle. Now, some roofers don't like these, and I don't know if that's because they've never installed them before or they're loyal to their shingle manufacturer. They just don't think they're great. But there are some roofing contractors that don't think that IKO is one of the top echelons of shingles. Now, we have installed these before. In our experience, they've been a good shingle to install. Not really any problems with them. Again, for the cost and the availability and the rebates, I thought it was a really good deal. But a lot of roofing contractors don't feel like these are the #1 shingles out there. Again, my opinion, we've had good experiences with IKO, not just the shingle, the Cambridge shingle itself, but the company. So I can't say that I have anything bad to say about them, but that's just some of the other roofers out there, it's their opinions. One of the big things to worry about, though, and this goes with every single shingle manufacturer out there, it's not just IKO, but when it comes to their warranties, if your roofing contractor comes out and installs these in 25-degree weather, and these tar strips back here never seal properly, then IKO will not warranty these shingles if they blow off because they were installed incorrectly. Now, that's not, again, just on IKO and not on Cambridge shingles in general. That's pretty much every shingle manufacturer. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can look really closely here, and there's tar that's right here, and this is supposed to seal the shingle down when it's installed. So you want to make sure that your roofing contractor is installing these at a minimum above 40 degrees, and if they can, sometime around 70 degrees. So if you're a homeowner out there and you see guys installing these in 23-degree weather, tell them to stop and find another day. And that's, of course, another conversation you're going to have with your roofing contractor if they've already ripped your roof off. But you want to make sure these are installed in fairly warm weather, and that's just all shingles, not just Cambridge. Now, one of the, again, drawbacks that some people have with Cambridge shingles is each one of these bundles are really, really heavy. So, and they're bigger. Again, the shingles themselves are bigger than your typical bundles that you're gonna get like GAF and Owens Corning. And so a lot of the installers hate, especially if your installers are carrying up ladders, they don't like them because they're really heavy and they're just, again, a big bundle of shingles. Now, all of my guys, we either get them roof loaded or we use a ladder vader, which is a machine that takes up the shingles to the roof. Now they still got to pick it off the ladder vader and install it, or put them where they want to before they get ready to install. So every now and then I've heard some of our roofers complain about it, but after they did them for a few times, they realize that they don't have to carry as many bundles up, so sometimes it doesn't really bother them. But if you got a bunch of little guys on your crew, they could really complain about these shingles, not only because, like I said, because they're heavy, but they're also just a big shingle to carry. And the last thing, and then I think this may be just because the shingles are larger in size, but we have seen a little bit of granule loss. I mean, you can see, again, here's some granules just fell off since I put these on the table. Now these are a couple years old and they've been in my garage, but in my experience, compared to maybe like a GAF HDZ shingle or an HD shingle, I feel like these maybe lose a little bit more granules. And again, it's not a significant amount. It's just, again, what I've noticed as I've installed these, and a little bit, maybe a little more granules in the gutters after the installation. And that just could be because there's more granules that's actually installed on here. So it just could be a proportion thing versus an actual, they just don't hold their granules. Okay, so that was my unbiased opinion on the IKO Cambridge Shingle. Again, just because we're in the shingle program doesn't mean that I would, give these a false review just because I'm in the program. I think they're pretty solid shingles. If you're a contractor just coming into the industry, I found the reps from IKO to be very, very engaging. I think they have great marketing material to help you sell to homeowners. That was one of the things I really liked about IKO's presentation when I met with their rep, is they had a lot of really great marketing material, again, to help you make more sales to the homeowners. If you're a homeowner out there and your contractor's installing these shingles, the only thing is to make sure that they're out there and it's not just a crew that shows up. And that's with just about any shingle manufacturer. I recommend at least having a project manager or the owner of the company out there during the installs. But overall, I think it's a solid shingle. I think with the availability, the price of them, and the rebate program makes them a great option for a lot of roofers out there. And if you've never used them before, give them a shot, see if you like it. If you don't, you can always go back to your other manufacturer. But guys, if you enjoyed the review, please give me a thumbs up. It really helps out the channel. If you have not subscribed to our channel and want to see more information from us, please click that subscribe button below. And as always, at Digital Roofing Innovations, we believe in using a modern approach with traditional values. Have a great day.